Hello, hello, good evening. How are you doing today? Hello, Toby. I see that you dropped a comment. How are you doing? Was just getting the technicals on lock. All right. Welcome to today's episode or today's session of Oh My Bad. All right. Just turn off my YouTube there. So, welcome to a new session. Today's session of the Samuel Kogumo Live Experience. Do we have this mic working well? I think so. I just heard myself. Yeah, welcome to today's session of the Samuel Kokumo Live Experience. How was your week, and what is your plan for the coming week? As always, you know that we start with this. We start with me saying to you that you need to plan ahead for your week, right? You need to plan ahead for your week. You need to write down 3 things you want to get done this week. Why do I say you should do this? Because it is important for your ideal. How's it going? It is important for you to set a tone for your week. And it's important because it sets you up for success in the sense that if you don't have a target, you can't lose, but you also can't win. When you have a target, when you have a target or three, you're able to direct your focus and you're able to secure a win, unlike just allowing life to bounce you however it likes throughout the week. So, if you are on the um, Q&A session we did last week, you know that we put it to a vote uh, about what topic we're going to be talking about today. And except for one person, everybody that was on the call voted for this one. How dare you? Let me cue up uh, the artwork. I think it's pretty nice. I like the picture that uh, Diola chose here. Makes it look more bossy and passes the message. How dare you? Anyway, let's get straight into it. So how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? It's supposed to be a question. Is there a question there? Diola is not complete work quiz. How dare you? How dare you is supposed to have a question mark. You put exclamation mark. But I'm not your English teacher. Anyway, let's get into the meat of it. So how dare you? How did this come about? Right? How dare you actually came from an episode of personal self-reflection. Anytime that I'm in a turning point in my life, I like to go back. And what do I like to go back to find? What am I looking for up and down? I like to go back to reflect on other turning points in my life. Think about how I felt in those moments, and then think about how I got out of them or the decisions I made and how they transformed my life, right? So what I was looking for is not what I found. By the way, before I go into that, what I just said I think is profound, but a lot of people will miss it. So I'm just going to pound on it a little bit. I have a strong belief that sometimes I heard this quote in a movie. They said, um, "Good decisions comes from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad ones." Right. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is sometimes the lessons you need to unlock the next steps that will transform your life are actually things that you've already gone through, but you're not paying attention to. Sometimes you don't need to open a book to know what the next step is. Sometimes you just need to sit, think, and remember. But because a lot of times we don't remember, you don't remember the last time that you were in a fix, because that's past, you don't really think about it anymore because it seems small. I mean, if you're facing something that looks big to you right now, and then you don't want to look back at the past because all the things that you've surpassed seem small to you, but as at the time that you were facing, they seemed like a big deal. There's a way you got through them. Sometimes by reflecting, you can find your own unique way of tackling things and skating through life. So just thought I'll drop that. Sometimes you may not even need to listen to a sermon, you might not need to read a book, you might not need to watch, you might not even need to watch me, right? Or watch any YouTube video. Sometimes you just need to sit, remember, and think. And just from that, a lot of times you find that there is a lot of lessons hidden in your own life experience. But let me move forward. So I was doing my own personal, reflection, and then something that hit me was the fact that every time that I've experienced some sort of delay in my life, like if there's something I want to do but I end up not doing it immediately, or I end up doing it and not doing it well. Not because not because I wasn't good at it, but just, um, you know, not giving my all, or not doing it at all. I have found that there is a common theme, there is a common feeling, there is a sort of voice. Man, they just took the power. I need some fan in here. I wonder if I put on this fan, because I don't want to start now and I start sweating and you people are seeing me doing like this or something. Please, if this is what's it called? If it's affecting my sound, let me know, and I think I'll just have to suffer through it. So where was I before NEPA did their thing? Yeah, I was talking about the fact that, actually, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Thank you, NEPA. I was talking about my personal reflection. I was talking about, yeah, so the general theme for me was a sort of invisible and a sort of invincible, or a voice that was basically just telling me, how dare you. And of course, it wasn't just how dare you like that, but it always came down to one thing. It always came down to, for people that know where I'm coming from, if I fail at this, what would they say? Why would you even think that? Why would you even try that? Right? It is essentially, and if you think about it yourself, most of your fears come down to, there's a Yoruba proverb that says, let me just translate it. The child that does not have a mother does not have should not get injured at the back, because who will nurse it, right? So it's like, because you know your situation, you know where you're coming from, it feels like foolishness for you to do certain things because it's too risky, right? Because if you fail, they'll be like, why did you mad girl? Why did you even attempt that? So you don't want to face that. And because of that, you stall. Because of that, you shut yourself down. Because of that, you postpone your action, you postpone your activity. Let me check the chat. If you guys say my sound is good, it's not affecting sound. Thank you, Dela. Right? Because of that, you shut yourself down. Because of that, you shut yourself up. Because of that, you postpone what you ought to do. And then you keep postponing and postponing and postponing. For me, I mean, throughout when I was in my senior secondary school, I wasn't a bad student, but I was an average student. And my experience was, every year, during the long holiday, everybody's back at grandma's house, and you know, my cousins are around. Everybody's result is looking okay, but mine is looking, Yoruba will call it omehe. If you know what that is, cool. If you don't know what it is, sorry, sorry for you, right? Basically, it wasn't super great results, right? So, me, that I know that anytime they're comparing me with my peers, right, I would always fall short. How dare me be the person to say, hey, you know what? Now that I'm in the university, I want to come out with the best possible score, with the best possible grade. Me, that I know that because of certain situations that happened in our lives early on, with us losing our mom and whatnot, we had a lot of family members that had to support us financially in many ways. How did I know that? Right now, I'm in the university. I want to start a business, and instead of me to start a regular business like everybody else, my friend, who I may say is from a privileged background compared to me, is telling me about this new thing that people do, shipping stuff from China and whatnot. How dare me, that I know that if I spend the money and I lose the money, nothing else is coming for me. How dare me? How dare you, Samuel? How dare you say that you want to start a business like that? I'm talking way back before, everybody started doing mini importation classes here and there, you know. And then I came out with, a super great grade in the university, studied agricultural administration. What made sense is for me to either just go and do masters, or to go and look for a job along that lines. I mean, I got a first class, right? Or do what a lot of people are doing, try and get a scholarship and further your education. But now, you know what I said? Scratch that degree, even though I worked that hard at it, even though I was like, Yoruba will call it "Owoniru Olata," like a community raised child, right? Different people invested in me. I said, you know what, scratch that degree. I'm going to go and learn digital marketing. How dare you do that, Samuel? How dare you try that? Look at that. NEPA said no, they're coming back with it. Anyway, how dare you do that? How dare you try that? And then after I started doing digital marketing, you know what I said? That's not enough for me. I want to go and do this thing. I'm already doing something that most people in my family or even my dad was wondering, is this guy doing, what is this digital marketing thing you're talking about? Abi, is it Yahoo learning and whatnot? Took a while for my dad to understand what I do. Anyway, and then, like that wasn't enough. I said, you know what? There's this thing that somebody on the internet has been telling me about. He calls it, I'll turn off the fan now. He calls it copywriting. And that's what I want to learn, right? That's what I want to learn. And you know what? I don't want to just do it serving Nigerian clients. I want to do it for people that are outside the borders of Nigeria. And what is my proof that this is possible? There's this guy called Olamide on Twitter. He's always talking about going on this platform and making a lot of money from it. You know what? That is what I'm going to do. And then you know what? I'm going to walk away from my regular 9 to 5 job and then start working for people all across the world, knowing fully well that I'm the first son of a family that needs me to support them. How dare me even think of that? How dare me even try it? Right? And I said all of that to let you know, not to boast. I'm still in the middle of one how dare you, and which is why what brought me to that reflection, right? I said all of that because I know a lot of people that watch this, a lot of people that ask me questions are in that phase right now. For some weird reason, I have a lot of people in the NYSC phase and just coming out of school. So the whole point of this session and the next one, because the pattern we're going to be following this year is 2 sessions on the topic and then a Q&A session, right? The whole point of this is to help you to see that you do not have to allow the stench of your past color your vision of your future. I'll say that again. You don't have to allow the stench of your past color your vision of your future. Every time that I wanted to do something beyond me, what I was always scared of is, why would I even think that? Why would I even try that? After all that anybody has done for me, different people have done for me, after what I have been through, after what my family has been through, why would I risk anything like that? Another thing that I'm going to be trying to help you to realize during these, just checking the, okay, just a wow. Another thing I'm hoping to help you realize is that there's a reason why all of these things are coming to you. There's a reason why all of these things are coming to you. They are not as random as you think. They are not as negligible as you think. There's a reason why those things are coming to you. There's a reason why you're having those nudgings, right? So how dare you usually comes in different phases. It comes in the face of, why would you even think about that? Based off what you've seen in your life, based on what you've seen other people go through, how would you think about that? Why would you even try that? Why would you even think that you are the one that deserves that life? Why would you think that you are the one that wants to opt out of it? Do you know how stupid it seemed to a lot of people around me then? Now a lot of people are working. 2020 got a lot of people to start working online. And that was about when I started as well. But just before that, I was doing digital marketing and, you're trying to say I'm doing something online. At that time, it just sounded like you're wasting your life, so to say, at least based on the environment I am. So you think you're better than the rest of us that are doing a regular job, or you want to be a freelancer, you think you're better than everybody that is looking for, some sort of stable job. No, I don't think I'm better. I'm just trying to follow my own nudgings. I'm just trying to do what I think is best for my life. But I could be wrong, but at least I want to try. If that is you and that's how you feel, this session is specifically for you. But here's the thing, right? When these things start to manifest, and I know I felt like that, when these things start to manifest, when you have these thoughts, you have these nudgings, there's more inside of you, you want to bring it out, but you keep going in circles. You keep going in circles. There's some sort of self-sabotage. Sometimes people call it some sort of spiritual thing, like, hey, maybe the devil is after you, or the demons in your family have finally caught up to you, or your village people are here to drag you down. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I don't think it is in the way that you think it is, right? I don't think it is in the way that you think it is. It's not, it's not in some woo-woo way where you watch it in a movie. You know, in the movies, when somebody's possessing somebody, one demon is doing this, one that is doing that, and one person is blowing powder, that you never succeed in life. Maybe they're doing that, but I don't know how deep your own is. If yours is that deep, maybe you should see your clergyman. But I put it to you that a lot of times, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Let me first start with the definition of spiritual, because a lot of times, especially in this country, in this part of the world, we like to spiritualize everything, except if you're going to lie to yourself, either because of something someone has said to you in church, someone has said to you at home, someone has said somewhere. When you are trying to break forth and break free into a new level, when you have a dream or a goal and you're unable to reach it, you start to wonder if this is some generational curse that is disturbing you. That's why when pastors say generational curses are broken, people shout a lot more. Yes, I believe that there are some strong things like that, but sometimes generational curses are just habits. More on that later. So let me first define for you what is spiritual, right? Let us try and dispel that first. What is spiritual? When you hear the word spiritual, the first thing that comes to people's mind is angels, demons, God, devil, witches and wizards, village people blowing powder, trying to draw you back home. You may be right, right? But I believe that that is not everything, right? The spiritual is a lot more than just that. A lot of times you don't even acknowledge the fact that you yourself are a spiritual being having a physical experience. There are parts of you that you do not acknowledge that are quite simple, that right? That are quite simple that you don't acknowledge are spiritual. What is spiritual and what is physical? The spiritual realm is the immaterial realm, the one you can't see, you can't touch, you can't engage with. The physical realm is the one you can touch, like my mouse here, my table, my body, everything. These are material. So what about you can you not see, but is still super important and affects your day-to-day life? I'll name them for you. Number one, your thoughts. Number two, your words. Number three, your imagination. I am saying these words to you. You can perceive them, you can hear them, it means something to you, but you can't see them. Words are spiritual. Your thoughts are spiritual. Your imagination is spiritual. I'll prove it to you going into the Holy Book, a little bit into the scriptures. If you check the book of Genesis, you'll see that at first, when God said, "Let us create man in our image," right? And then I think the chapter after that, I quote the Bible a lot, but I don't usually remember exactly when. So you go do your research. I've read that part. After, I think in the next chapter, it then said that man was formed from the dust of the earth. What does that mean? Or what do I think that is mean? See what I talk. What do I think that means? I think that points us to something. First of all, the man that was made and the man that was formed are two different events. The man that was made was first evident in the mind of God, in the thoughts of God, in the mind of God. The man that was made was first a spiritual entity. The man that was formed was then a physical entity. Then also, in Jeremiah, I think, I'm not sure, where it says there's a verse that says something like, before you were born, before you were formed, I knew you and I ordained you a prophet, or something like that. Something, pardon me, I always quote the Bible, but I don't know exactly where it is, but I know the idea. What does that mean? Before you were born, I knew you. It means you first existed in the mind of God, right? And this is the same God that created you in his image. I'm not here to preach theology or whatnot. What I'm trying to show you is thoughts are things, right? Your thoughts are spiritual. Everything that you see around you first existed in the realm of the thoughts, in a spiritual realm of the thoughts, right? And I'll link all of this together to you for you. Maybe you stop being so scared of your village people. Maybe you should still be scared. Anyway, the next thing is your words, right? I am saying certain things to you right now, but you can't see them. Words are spiritual as well. I think it was Bruce Lee that said that words cast spells. That's why they are called spellings. Words cast spells. That's why they are called spellings, right? There's also a verse of scripture that says, life and death is in the power of the tongue, in the power of language. Right. Quickly check in the comments, always check. Thank you, Jeremiah 29, verse 11. God bless. Yeah, I don't usually remember, but thank you, Matthias, for saying that. Anyway, and then your imagination is the eyes of your mind, right? It is where you bring pictures. It is where you paint pictures of what you want, how you want it, where you want it. Oh, 1 verse 5. Let's not go into that. Anyway, it is where you paint the pictures, the visions of your future, everything that you want. That is where it first exists, right? So things that are spiritual about you that most people are not conscious of, and which is why people use it recklessly, are the words you use. Every time you open your mouth, you're either reinforcing a condition that somebody else had conditioned you, or you've conditioned yourself, or you're conditioning other people. Your thoughts, every time that you make use, every time that you think a thought, it has a creative power, it has spiritual power, right? And your imagination, right? And who gets blamed for all of these things? Who gets blamed for all limitations? Who gets blamed for all bad things that happens to you? The devil. So who is the devil? Yeah, you guys are arguing about where it is. At least you get the point. If you're arguing about where it is, I think it's 1-5. I think Matthias is right about 1-5. I think that's what seems to be, most resonating with me. That's what I was saying. So what is the devil? I hope Nazir is here because while we were getting this nice haircut, he was asking me about it, and I told him to tune in, right? So what is the devil? Of course, you've heard about it. You've read about it. And at the end of this, if your conclusion is that I'm saying there's no such thing as the devil, then you didn't hear me right. Because that's what Nazir thought I was saying. No. What I'm saying is the way that people tend to point. I don't know if you watch enough Yoruba movies, you know how people, any small thing, he said to me, the devil, right? Let me give you a quote. I'm going to read it here. It's from a book called The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. He said, when you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. You will find his proper pace and he will stay in it. You don't need to send him to the back door, he will find it himself. He also said, if you make a man feel like he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he will seek it out himself. Right? How many times has this ever happened to you? You go into a situation, you go into a place that you've never been before, and without being told, instead of taking the front seat, you go and take the middle seat or the back seat, because somewhere in your mind, you feel like that is what people like you deserve, or you are too scared of the responsibility of the limelight. How many times have you been asked, or has a crowd of people been asked for a volunteer for something, and you just wonder, you do not take the leadership, you do not take the initiative because you just somehow feel like somebody else in that crowd is better deserving of that than you. Why is that? You see, the devil is not omnipotent, omnipresent. It's not everywhere. What the devil wants to do, at least to the best of my understanding, is to turn you against you. If you yourself are against you, you yourself are fighting you through your thoughts, your imaginations, and your words, the devil doesn't need to worry about you anymore. So the person that you are dealing with is not actually the devil. It's not the woo-woo demon that you think you're dealing with. A lot of times what you're dealing with is your own mind, your own thinking. Number one thing, the devil that you blame is your habits, your thoughts, and your imaginations. The devil you blame is your habits, your thoughts, and your imaginations. Do you have the habit of immediately shutting yourself down every time a new idea comes up? You look for the nearest example or excuse. And yeah, I'm not ready yet. Let me just wait. You know, one of the things that kills people the most, one of the things that kills dreams the most, one of the killing things that kills momentum the most is waiting till things are okay. Things will never be okay. You'll never have. I still want to teach this, but you guys have not allowed me because you voted for this. Life is never going to give you a straight line, like, okay, everything is lined up, now move. Right? So there's always going to be excuses. Do you have the habit of always looking for an excuse, looking for 10,000 ways why something is impossible or cannot be done, instead of finding just one way that it can be done, or focusing that you can find one way that it can be done. My friend, that is the devil you blame. That habit is the devil you blame. When things go bad, or even when things are good, do you have the habit of thinking, hey, I wonder how long this will last? My friend, that is the devil. That is the devil that you blame. You're the one fighting yourself. You don't have to worry about you. You kill your dreams yourself with your thinking, with your thoughts, and with your own imagination. The devil you blame is your habits, your thoughts, and your imaginations. And that is internal. The devil that you blame is also in the validation you seek, the status that you don't want to the status that you have that you're too scared to lose, and the acceptance that you crave. And that happened to me a lot. Let me tell you one of it. We are living in it right now. Look, you guys are watching me on YouTube, right? Go to your YouTube thingy, whatever it is. How many people are viewing this right now? Just 6 people. This is what I was scared of. And this is why I didn't start this thing. I'm like, me, hey, Samo Kukumo. Many people have, over the years, have said, you have done this, you have changed my life, you are that, you are that. If I now start going live now, and it's only 2 people that are joining. If somebody come now, they see that 2 people are there, Samuel, it's only 2 people you can pull, voila. Maybe my friends will start laughing at me like that. Mr. Motivational Speaker, voila. Mr. Motivational Speaker, Asheni Meta, just 3 people that are watching you, or just 6 people that are watching you. I was scared of that. The devil is in the validation you seek, the status you have that you're too afraid to lose, and the acceptance you crave. I was too scared to lose the status of, hey, this guy is somebody that I respect, but guess what? My guy can't even pull 10 views. My God, which kind of life be this? Oh, he said, please recap. Did you guys lose, what's it called for a second? I'm seeing a please recap. Did we lose connection for a second there? Just making sure. All right, I think he's back. So that's the truth. I was scared of that. I'm living in my fears right now. Only 7 people are watching this. Who knows? Maybe somebody else is watching this in the future when I'm having 10,000 views. The reality of today, 8th of February 2026, is only 6. It's even fluctuating 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. That's the reality. And to be honest with you, that is what I was scared of. And that is the devil, my friend. That is the devil that I was blaming. So think about it. What status are you too scared? And your own might not even be deep. My own might just be, me now that I'm the other brother of like 3 people. So that one person will not just share it. Maybe your brother be this. Your brother, they go live too. Your brother video, they do past 5 views. Hey, voila. And you will post your brother up and down. I can't believe I'm laughing at myself. But it's the reality. The devil is in the validation you seek, the status you are too scared to lose, and the acceptance you crave. I'll say it again. The devil is in the validation you seek, the acceptance you crave, and the status you are too scared to lose. And that's part of what is stopping you. Keep blaming you. But because of the systems that have been put in place, because you've seen people being dragged online a couple of times, because you've seen people being insulted online a couple of times, because one person who doesn't know their left from their right, whose whole idea about success is how many followers other people have, you've seen them insult somebody else that doesn't have as many followers, and automatically you have accepted the paradigm that somebody's value in this day and age is based off how many followers that they have. Maybe it is an indication, but it's a pretty shallow way to think about it. But even though I knew that, deep down, I was still scared of this thing happening like this, right? So your natural way of thinking, your natural way of perceiving life is always going to be in your own way while you blame the devil. So you have to attack your normal. Thank you for writing it down again, Toby. The validation you seek, the acceptance you crave, and the status you're scared to lose. You didn't write status there. So you can't trust your normal. But you know what you can trust? You cannot trust your normal paradigms of life, the way that you have been programmed to think about life. You know what you can trust? You can trust your nudgings. Let me tell you a quick story. To tell you that story, it's something that I wrote down because I couldn't put that all in my head. Let me just read it straight. It's while I was preparing for this session, I was trying to look for the best way for me to bring this out for you guys. So I did some research. Give me a quick second. I wish I could share I actually can, but I think it's just going to put me in a bit of a technical tailspin, so I'm not going to do it. So I'll just read it out, right? Give me a quick second to pull it up on my screen here. All right. So let me tell you the story of a baby and a turtle. So let's start with the turtle, right? I'm going to read it exactly as it was written down here. A sea turtle is born on a beach inside warm sand. No parents, no instructors, no orientation class. One night, the egg cracks, and a tiny creature that has never seen the world pushes itself out of the darkness into the moonlight. And the first thing it does, it doesn't go around in circles. It doesn't just head towards the forest. It doesn't stay there. It turns towards the ocean, begins to crawl, and it enters the ocean. Who taught it how to enter the ocean? Who explained that that shining line on the water is home? Why doesn't it choose land? By the way, a sea turtle lives in the sea. Why doesn't fear keep it on the sand? Something inside it already knows that my destiny is not here, my destiny is there. So it drags its fragile body across the beach, filled with dangers like birds, crabs, and waves, and it enters the environment that it has never practiced for. And once it touches the ocean, nobody teaches it how to swim, nobody teaches it how to read currents, nobody teaches it how to find food or how to avoid predators. Yet it learns day by day, mistake by mistake. And then it's a long thing that I just learned, that I just wrote down or that I've discovered. It says, there's no 5-year plan, there's no life coach, there's no clarity seminar, just nudgings and engagements. And here's the funny thing that I discovered about this thing is that decades later, it will return to that back to that same beach. And that is where it will lay its own eggs, right? Scientists studied this sea turtle, and do you know what they discovered? They say, they are the ones that are now telling us that it follows the Earth's magnetic field as some sort of secret compass. But let me ask you this question, ladies and gentlemen. How does it know about the Earth's magnetic field? Who taught it? Who taught it about the Earth's magnetic field? I mean, it's scientists that are saying it, but do you think that the sea turtle knows anything about this magnetic field? Let me tell you the second story. I told you I'm going to tell you the story about the turtle and the baby. And of course, the baby is my baby. By the way, I feel like sometime in the future, I'm going to have to pay this boy something for always using him as an example. Right? So a baby is born, months go by. They tell us at a certain point that he's supposed to sit down. So do you know what we do? We put him in this kind of box thing where he's supposed to help his back sit. Then we'll put him, then he will fall, then we'll put him, then we'll fall. Then all of a sudden, one day we just see that he sits and he's not falling anymore. Booyah. If you go to my church, you understand that. And then next thing they say is, hey, you have to teach him how to know how to turn over, right? So that in case, he's in that position, he won't suffocate himself and he can turn over. And then we'll be doing this thing where we're like helping him to put his hand under his hand. And then one day, we just noticed that while we're not looking or while we're not even doing anything to him, this guy will just flip over and he'll do it. And he'll do it like 3 times, like, oh, I guess you know it. And then when it was time for him to start to crawl, they said, hey, put a towel under him, bend him this way, and be directing him. And then anytime we do that, the guy will be looking at us like this, like, who's sending that message? And then all of a sudden, one day, he eats my food. That's good enough. Thank you. One day, his mom is going to the kitchen, and then all we were hearing was pat, 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 pat. He was chasing his mom down. Like, oh, I guess we unlocked that. Who taught him? Did we teach him? We didn't teach him jack. We didn't teach him jack. My boy was just following his nudgings. It is written all over nature, right? there is something in you that is making you to have those feelings that you feel. There's something in you that is making you to have those dreams that you dream. There's something in you that is making you have those thoughts, those feelings, those dreams, those goals, those tendencies. Something inside of you is trying to bring it out. Something that was already encoded in you, just like that sea turtle that nobody has to teach about the magnetic field of the world. Just like my baby, that even though we the apropos parents that don't like to rest, we're always trying to force it. Even now, we are still trying to put two toys in his hand. If he's holding two things, he'll learn how to stand. And that boy is going to stand, he's going to do it because something inside of him said it was time to do it. And it's the same thing about you and your purpose, right? Your purpose is not a lost wallet. Your purpose is not a lost wallet. Your purpose is not lost. It is locked, and you unlock it with engagement. I'll say it again. Your purpose is not lost. It is locked, and you unlock it with engagement, right? Because here you are, you're watching YouTube videos, you're going to sermons, you're reading books, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're not following the nudgings in your art because you are too scared of the status that you would lose. You're too scared of what people will think. Let me use this guy's list. I'm bad with this. I don't always remember, even if it's me that wrote them down. Let me borrow his list real quick. It was there. Did he delete it? You're still too scared of the validation. You're looking for validation and you're looking for acceptance. So you shut off your nudgings. You shut up what is supposed to unlock that thing that is inside you. The purpose that you are looking all around to Shokoto is inside your Shokoto, as we like to say. You shut it down. Do you know what part of the things you're scared of? What if you're wrong? Let me tell you one thing that is funny. Let me give you, I think I've told this story a little too many times, but let me just say it anyway. I did not learn that I wanted to be a copywriter by reading it in a book. It was adversity and we don't want to chop bisi that brought it out of me. I was the vice president of my department's association. I was in charge of our dinner and awards night. We had spent maybe half of the full treasury on like preparing for the association week. Then there was a riot in school. And then by the time we came back, it was right in the middle of this inflation. Everything's prices doubled. Nobody's refunding, but they still wanted us to add more money. I knew we had to sell tickets. So I knew I had to get creative. Who's calling me? So I knew I had to get creative. So what did I do? What did I tell myself I have to do? I have to find a way to sell these tickets, or else these people are going to shout Ole on my head because they'll think it's us that chopped the money. Even though we not chopped the money, it was a situation that happened. So I started writing broadcasts just to sell tickets so that I will not face the shame. I didn't even know at all. I didn't even know that there was any such thing as copywriting until 3 years later. I was just doing it for fun. I was just doing it based on what I felt. I was just doing it based on a nudging in myself, in my spirit, in my mind, whichever one your mind can accept, whether you say it's spirit or your mind, whatever, or your soul. But a lot of times we kill that thing. We don't follow the nudging. What will people say? What will people see? What validation will I not get anymore? What acceptance will I not get anymore? What status will I lose? It's in nature everywhere, but we're blind to it. So, if there is these nudgings, if there are these nudgings inside of you, if there are these things inside of you that are nudging you, that are directing you in a certain direction that does not stop, it keeps pestering you, just like I was being pestered about doing these live things or doing some sort of podcast or doing something where I'm able to teach other people about my story, my things that I've learned, so that I can also help other people go through what I've gone through faster and not have to go through some of the troubles that I've gone through. The same way it's been pestering me to do all of this, you're also having those nudgings inside your spirit. You're also having those nudgings inside your mind or your soul, but you keep shutting them down. But I need to ask you one question. How did those nudgings get there? Why are those nudgings there? Why do you think it's there? I'm just going to pause a little, even though I know there's a bit of a delay, but I know you probably, you know, You probably answer and I'll catch up later. Don't forget what we're talking about here is how dare you. Silencing the voice that is trying to keep you small. The voice that is trying to keep you small is the one that tells you, why would you even think like that? Why would you even try that? Do you think you're better than the rest of us? Why are you even thinking about that? So who put it there? I'll wait for the comments and check it later. There's someone that created you a certain way, knowing fully well that when you experience certain things, it will rob you somehow. Knowing fully well that when you set your eyes on certain things, your mind will not be able to go away from it. It is your creator that installed that thing inside of you, and that is why it keeps bugging you, because it has been encoded into your DNA, it has been encoded into who you are, just like it was encoded into the sea turtle. If you're just joining or you're watching this in the middle, I don't know what the sea turtle is. Boo-hoo, reverse. Rewind, Jerry. It was God, it was your God that put it inside there. So I'm going to wrap up with this. Anything that says, how dare you, is saying, how dare God. Even if it is you that you're telling yourself, how dare you think about that. So what you're basically saying is, how dare God make me this way? Yeah, I kept quiet on purpose so you can think about that. How dare you, God, make me this way? How dare you, God, make me feel these things? You feel these things because you're supposed to do something about it. And of course, you're going to mess up. Of course, you're going to be confused. Of course, you're not going to be clear on everything. Here's the thing you need to know, right? I made a quote the other time. I said, I think it was a movie. I don't remember where I heard it from. What was said is that, I'm trying to remember the quote. I did say it a few minutes ago. Okay, good decisions come from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad ones, right? When you follow these nudgings, when you follow the nudgings of your heart, the things that keep pestering you, after you become, after you follow these things consistently, you start to find out that there are some things that you're supposed to commit to. There's some things that you're just supposed to know. And there's some things that you're just supposed to learn, not because of that thing, but just so you can apply it to your main thing. So what am I saying? Sometimes the nudgings in your heart, sometimes the things that you feel you need to step into does not even look like where you're currently going or where you thought your life is supposed to go. But there's a reason why they're there. So why are you shutting it down? I'll say it again and I'll wrap up with this. We'll continue next week and I'll take it to a whole new level. Anything that tells you out there, you think about your dreams, out there, you think about your goals, out there, you attempt the things that have been placed in your heart, is actually saying, out there, God. I don't think anybody has the competence or the authority to say that to you or to block you from that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you very, very much for joining us again. My name is Samuel Kukumo, and I'm a shadow of a great rock. I am here for people with a restless spirit who want to do more and be more. And what I'm trying to help you do with these sessions is to unlock new layers of greatness locked inside of you. Because I know that you showed up with something, and I know that that thing that you have in your heart, that life you want to live, is possible. And I just want to be the light of possibility for you. Until next week on your not yet award-winning Samuel Kukumo Live Experience, probably one award-winning someday. Catch me, or you know what, actually, let's continue the conversation later this night in the community. If you're not in the community, who keeps calling me now? If you're not in the community, I am going to paste the link to the community. I should have these things on hand. I'm going to paste it in the community. I'm going to paste the link to join the community right now in the comments so that you may join. Let me just grab it real quick. Add group. Where is that link thing? I can't seem to, okay, invite link. One question, please. Nazir, you may have to wait for, you know what, just post the question. If I feel like it's something I need to answer right away, I will answer it right away. But if I feel like it's something that needs to wait for the Q&A session, I will say, let's wait for the Q&A session. So, Nazir, shoot. I'll be waiting for you while I paste the link in the chat. Okay, I think he already gave up on the question. Where's the question? There's a question. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Is there someone, Nazir, you can just drop the question. I'll be waiting. While he is dropping his question, again, I charge you, my dear friends, please take the time, 10, maybe 15 minutes. It shouldn't even take you 10, maybe to 15 minutes. Just write down 3 things that you want to get done this week. That's all, super simple. It sets you up for success for your week. When is it okay to stand your ground? And when should you apologize? And Nazir, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pin that down and make that something that we discuss during the Q&A session, because that is a deep question that I'd like to take time to, respond. And I also like to get some context from you. In the Q&A session, I can ask you questions and we can go back and forth. But here, you're just typing and it's not so easy to get context to give you the response you need. All right, my bros and gals, until next week, do take care.